Welcome, everybody. My name is Arjun, producer, recordist, mix engineer, coming at you from Grand Prairie, Alberta, my hometown. We're recording elsewhere today, obviously. Decided to take it easy this evening. Let's call this, I feel like using the word couch makes sense, but like anything with the word couch has like a weird connotation these days. Like, I can't say couch, but it has to be the something sessions. Hometown Hustle,
Oh yeah, I don't know.
like what kind of? It's okay. I'll dub it in post. So I'm calling it the. Perfect. This is. we'll figure it out. This is episode 21. 21 of a series of unedited conversations that I'm calling the Hometown Hustle. This deals with my artistic journey through the arts and music scene in the Peace Country and all the people who helped me get where I am today. This evening, I'm pleased to have with me GP scene legend, guitarist, singer, songwriter, one of GP's original punk and ska cats, Eric Holt. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I felt like I had to use the term cats, but I don't know if that's like a mixing of tropes, like maybe there's a different way, because like jazz cats and hep cats are cats, I don't know.
True.
But I feel like it works. That's fine. Eric, when did we meet?
I
was trying to figure that out. I don't know if it was like...
So, like, the first time that I really remember you is, like, I had sort of started working at the music store, and Al used to kidnap me on Tuesdates, and we'd go on these Mandate Tuesdays, is what it was called, right?
Yep.
Al Peterson.
Mandated dates.
Exactly.
Like, there's like a lot
there's
of...
so many ways to deal with that. But
Al Peterson, Origami Army, Kidnapper.
Yeah.
GP Music.
Yeah. I remember the first time I think I ever saw you guys was like we had come to drop something off to you and you were practicing at like some... Actually, the room was probably not much bigger than this, and you had 5 guys like practicing at the college in this loft room, and that was sort of the first time I saw like you and Bevan, and Chris Guthrie, and Sean, and who was your singer's name? Like
that was probably John at that time, John Jones.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember, and it was just this like brief moment, and we're walking up this staircase, and it's just like. And the walls are just doing this. Right. And I'm like, where are we going?
Exactly.
I was like, we're just dropping this off to Arjun. We open the door and it's just a bunch of homies
nerds
chilling out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. I thought it was going to be Satan, but
yeah, of course. No, that's just it. But that's how we get you though. You know? But I mean like Satan. We're like, hey, how you doing? We're cool. Okay, because I was trying to figure out if it was like during the No One's Alone period of my band life or like the beginning of the Calculating Collapse period. But I guess it would have been.
Was there a crossover there? Because I do remember like one of the first shows that we like had played as a band was that Red Cross Rocks show.
Oh, okay.
And like I still have a T-shirt that has No One's Alone on there. And
nice.
Unfortunately, Here's Kitty Kitty is like on there as well.
Kitty, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Are we gonna start a beef with Kevin Albers? Yeah. Is that what's happening right now?
It's just the name. Like that's what the beef is.
Okay. All right. No beef. Kevin, Shauna, morning show, 97.7 Rock. We mitigated that. That was good though.
We breezed by that one.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like 2005-06, something like that.
Yeah, it would have been just out of high school for me, so I think 2006, yeah.
Wow. I always forget the like massive difference in age between me and like everyone else. Because I feel like we were all like playing music all at the same time. So it's obviously, I'm like older than everyone or what, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. But
well, I mean, there's also older guys. So
That's true.
Don't fret.
It just seems like 2005. I graduated high school in 1999. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. Not to date myself. But I've done that before, so it's fine. Was that movie classic already? In terms of playing shows, the Red Cross Rocks.
Yeah,
that kind of thing?
I think we were actually called halfway there at that point. And it was myself, Travis Brulot, and Dash Eldronic. Remember him?
Dash, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
He was playing bass, just that fly hip cat. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Super groovy, man.
He was very groovy.
But he man, I've completely lost touch with him, but he was a lot of fun. It's super smart, man. Holy
absolutely,
smokes.
Very much so. I briefly gave him bass lessons because he had lessons with James Oldenburg. Do you remember James when he was here?
That name sounds really familiar again, but
but James was like, a producer, mix engineer, incredible guitarist, multi-instrumentalist, all that kind of stuff. He taught at the college for a while. I took guitar lessons from him for a while. But Dash used to take like bass lessons. And, I remember Dash is one of those folks, this pertains to his smarts, but he like retained all that stuff. And I didn't, some of it. I remember working through like changes for a bunch of standards with James. It's like, oh yeah, when you do this, like you can like play the sharp 4 here and a bunch of theory stuff like that. I'm like, yes, okay. And it would take me forever to figure it out. But I remember maybe Dash was playing with you guys or other things. But, like when you hear somebody who has like some theory chops, you can tell like, oh, like, what they're doing is there's more going on than just like, root fifth. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Which like, and this is the thing is he was really into the Mars Volta and like that kind of like math sounding music, I guess for lack of a better term. Yep. And then we tried to force him to play punk music. and so
it's like the anti that perhaps.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Yep. That's okay. All right. Now that we figured that out, let's work backwards maybe. Where did you grow up? Where were you born?
So I was born in Edmonton.
Okay.
Yep. And we came here. My dad got transferred. He was working for, at the time it was Alberta Power, and so he got transferred up here. I don't know, in like 92 or 93. I think my sister had like just recently been born, and we came to Grand Prairie then, and kind of started school here. I don't know, it must have been like 94, whatever. Yeah. That time. Yeah. Anyways. And, started school here. Went to Alexander Forbes. Woo! Forbes. And, that's kind of... I grew up on the south side pretty much my entire life. Yep. Still live there.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, but...
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yep.
That's cool. Were you, like, was your family musical? Were they into the arts, music, all that kind of stuff? Did you grow up with a lot of that around you?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, we always had music around us for sure. Like, my mom always used to say, and I'm going to lose some tough guy points here, but my mom always used to sing us, like, lullabies when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And so we always learned those songs, like we'd sing along with her, and that carried on into like, well, geez, we just sang like kind of randomly at my sister's wedding last summer.
Oh, and, cool. Yeah,
and like my grandma used to be in a folk band.
Awesome.
Or folk duo, I guess. Her and so it was Lynn and Buddy, I think his name was. And in Ontario, and when she was growing up and stuff in the the 70s or 60s or whatever.
Yeah, and that's like the heyday of folk duos. Absolutely. I mean, that was like the time.
And it was so good, man. Like my mom's got some recordings of it, and it's just like, and my grandma's like, she harmonizes when she sings, but it's it's like this, and it's just like ingrained in her. Like I don't even know if she can. Well, I've never heard her sing like the lead.
Right.
Every time that I've heard her sing, it's just harmony. Yeah. And, oh man, and it's just this like. This kind of like minor harmony too, and it's just like natural. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's beautiful.
I wish I could do that.
Right? Yeah. Harmony singing, it's one of those things where if you practice it and you have put time into practicing doing it, you can kind of do it, right? And then obviously, then you can be much better at it and like all that kind of stuff. But if that's not the main thing, even if you like, sing the root and then find the third, and then you're like, yeah, I will sing harmony, you always get pulled back to the main line. It's like at some point you're like, yeah, I know. This is not the harmony at all. So I too find people who can do that to be amazing. Do you remember Brent Hessler? He played in Reject for a bit and other bands. Yeah. Brent was like, he was like a killing harmony singer, and he still is to this day. I feel like we and Justin and Renee maybe jammed like last year sometime, but it was just one of those things where, like he's all over that. It's like, hey, if you're singing lead, I got this harmony, and it's just like beautiful, perfect. Whether
just
it's a major or minor, it's just
long.
Oh gosh, man, that's so tasty.
Yep.
But
that's really good.
I wish I could do that. But yes, folk music.
Yeah. Grandma. And like, even further back, I know like her dad's like my great grandpa was into polka.
Cool.
And that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I have a few memories of him. They like my mom's family's from the East Coast. Well, the Ontario area kind of thing. And and I saw them a few times when I was younger, but kind of like one of my like probably earliest memories is probably of my great grandpa. Like, and I it's not very specific memory, but I do like I remember him clear as day. If he walked past me, I would know exactly who it was.
Yeah.
Also, that would probably be terrifying, but
right. Fair enough.
But yeah, no. So that's like my mom's side of the family, and my dad's side of the family. They had like a family band when he was growing up too.
Oh, cool.
They were the Ribbons.
Oh,
in High Prairie.
Yeah,
I think High Prairie. Edson, like they.
Yeah.
I think it was probably around there kind of thing. And he played drums.
Oh, cool.
And his sister, my aunt, played keyboards.
Cool.
And my grandpa played guitar.
Beautiful.
And my dad's like best friend's mom played fiddle and yodeled.
Dude, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, do you remember her yodeling? Do you remember
I've
the yodel?
Heard her yodel. Not like their band was long dissolved after I came along, but I've definitely heard her yodel though. Wow, for sure.
That's incredible. I feel like we're so far removed in this day and age from like yodeling as a thing that people, if you just mention the word yodeling to somebody, they think of like some kind of comedic thing, like oh yodeling. But
it was a legitimate thing.
It was legit.
For sure.
And I mean,
there's have you ever heard of Old Man Ludica?
No.
He's dude. Okay, so you need to look him up.
All right.
But he's got a song called Yodel Lady. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's folk tunes. He's I mean it's sort of like the layman's version of yodeling, but it's like he does present that in the song a little bit, and it's so good. It's just like a play on words too.
Yeah, that's
very
incredible.
Clever.
It's it's a whole technique, a whole way of doing a thing that's just different. It's its own thing. I get such a big kick out of that, man. It's really cool. Wow. Okay, so folk music, yodeling, harmony singing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of cool stuff. Were you an active participant in any of that stuff growing up? Like, would it be like relatives would come over and you guys would sing now and again? Like, did that kind of stuff happen?
I would say that's not like where music totally started for me. Like my mom, she would always get us to sing these songs. Like we had like barbecues and stuff like that, and her friends would come over, and like she was involved in a very like creative group of people, which was awesome. And and so I mean there'd be music there, a lot of like church friends and that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of like Michael Road is below the shore, that kind of stuff. But so she'd always get us to like sing a couple of these tunes or whatever, and I don't know. So there was that, but like my music kind of really started in school, like in Forbes at like grade 5 or grade 6. It kind of like it was sort of you had your core subjects, and then you had like French was sort of like one of the things that we were kind of made to learn in that school. But by the time like grade 5 rolled around, French became an option.
Right.
and it was an option with like band or orchestra kind of thing. And I was like, done. Like, as if, and man, I wanted to play the trumpet. I really wanted to do that.
Where did that come from?
Trumpet or trombone or something, but it was just, I don't know. I think it probably had something to do with like the polka thing. Okay. Probably. Yeah. And I mean, I ended up playing clarinet.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Which, I mean, is still fairly polka-esque, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So that's kind of where that all sort of took off. And like, yeah, I practiced the hell out of that for a long time. Yeah. I played that all the way through high school too. And
whoa.
Yeah, it was really cool actually. Yeah. And like, I'm gonna tell some stories about my parents here, and if they watch this, I'm really sorry, Mom, but
I'll make sure they watch this.
So like, like practicing at home, obviously all the time, right? And like my dad would get me to practice, every morning. Every morning I had to be sitting at the kitchen table half an hour before school. Yep. And it was like the case that I had for my clarinet would open to like 90 degrees or like just past 90, so I could put my sheet music on. It was awesome.
Classic, yes.
It was awesome, but yeah, there's a lot of practicing going on at my house, and I think my sister bore the brunt of that because she did not wake up as early as I did to practice, and every morning she would have to come downstairs and sit beside me and eat her Nesquik. Well, I'm just squawking away on this stupid thing. Yeah. And
something very Squidward-esque about that.
Yeah. To an extent, I mean, there was days, man. There was pieces of music where it didn't really sound like much of anything.
It's the tough thing to nail, man, technique-wise.
Yeah, and I got to a point where I was like learning the higher registers and like progressing to like try for like first clarinet and that kind of stuff in school. And I remember like practicing at my mom's house like around this time, and she comes, she's doing her hair or something like that before whatever, and she comes downstairs while I'm practicing, and she's like, what are you playing? And I was like, I'm just playing this piece of music. And she's like, well, maybe you could practice those notes at your dad's house. All right.
That's amazing.
You betcha, Mom.
Tough love. Man, that's awesome.
But I mean,
it's incredible.
I mean, she wasn't trying to deter me from practicing by any means, but that's something that always stuck with me for sure.
That's hilarious, man. That's so funny. You mentioned switching into music as soon as French became an option. Did you, like, at an early age, did you know that you wanted to be like an active participant in music? You know, because like there's a difference between like folks who will sort of begrudgingly take like an instrumental class at school, and then they will like never think about it again. You know, it's like I did that for school, but then there are other folks, maybe yourself, you know, who are like, yeah, like I want to learn music. Is that something you thought about when you were little, or did that come after starting to take music lessons?
I don't like. I think people have music around them a lot more often than they realize. But music was always around at my house, like, and growing up, like we always had the radio on. Yep. My sister had a bird for a little while, like a budgie or whatever. Wow. Yeah. My dad would leave Big Country on for the bird. Sorry, bird. But so like throughout the day, like you'd come home from school and you know George Strait is playing on the radio and that kind of stuff. Like I don't know, like it was always around, and I don't know that I necessarily like made a conscious decision to pursue music. I guess when I got older and like it was definitely like I realized that it was a big part of my life. Right. It was something that I wanted to like fully welcome, I guess. And so I like leaned into it, and I guess like, you know, I ended up working at the music store and like buying CDs. Like I was one of the guys that had like the big CD wallet that was you know, doubled as an anvil.
Exactly. And a mode of defense, you know, like hit people with it, protect yourself. Like, man, I wonder if those are still around. Like, you know.
Oh, they are.
I mean,
they are.
You know, like
I have a couple.
Oh, okay. See, I have a couple kicking around somewhere too. But I wonder what people would think about that. Like, what is the strange book with these circles in it? What is the meaning of this? That was like a big deal, you know, like you have it in your car, you know, and you're like, okay, you know, like queue up something to listen to, drive around, you know, make sure you got the like the booklet, you know, stuck in there. Were you a booklet in the CD wallet person or no?
It would depend. Like I did a lot of like mixed CDs too. So if I had something like that, I would write them all out on a piece of paper and
of course.
But no, for the most part, I was just like CDs straight into it because if you put the sleeve into like some of those things were a novel, man, and it would just stretch. Man. Like it made something that was already obnoxiously huge even huger.
Even bigger. Exactly.
I guess
it's comically large, like like a George Costanza wallet as a CD wallet. Yeah, sure. That's amazing. It's like your workout for the morning. Like just do a bunch of these, you know, like. Lift it up, you know.
Screw kettlebells, man.
Yeah, exactly. The original kettlebells, perhaps. Like the big ones had handles on the sides, so
yeah.
I get it, man. That's good. That's good. Again, it served a lot of purposes, I guess. Who are some bands or artists or music? I guess types of music that you remember, like really noticing. Like it doesn't have to be like, what song made you stand still and go, whoa, this was amazing. But, when you were growing up and getting into this kind of stuff, what was the music that I guess, did make you stop and think like, oh, like I should do that.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of it, obviously, right? But I guess like the first album that I ever bought, probably with like chore money, I guess, was like the Gordon album from the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
Like that was, I'm glad that I got it on CD, because if it was on cassette, it would have been roasted.
Right,
like I
exactly.
still listen to, like, that's still a main play. Like it's one of those albums that like front to back kind of thing. Yeah. And that was huge, I think, for me. Like just the comedy in it too. Like it was.
That's the thing.
And I guess unfortunately, I also really enjoyed Weird Al Yankovic too. Speaking of like comedy music, and his like Running with Scissors album had like that Offspring cover on.
That's right.
Cover, but like that. Yeah. Pretty fly for a rabbi.
Yeah. Dude.
Yep. Sold.
Weird Al, that guy's amazing. I mean.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know what I would have first heard by Weird Al. Or seen, I'm pretty sure it was like the video to Eat It or something like that. Like, remember being a kid, this is probably before we moved to England, or maybe when we lived in England or something. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't even know if I was into like music that much at the time, but it's just one of those things that it's so kooky. You stop and you're like, what is this?
I have to.
Song. Yeah, exactly.
What does he say?
What is he doing? There's so much good stuff and so much great comedy within those, like, Pretty Fly for a Rabbi, of course, Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
Like, just like
classics.
So much of this is just like, like not just comedy gold, but like music gold, anytime I think of, I don't know how often I think of Gangsta's Paradise, to be honest, but maybe I think about Amish Paradise more like
often,
the lyrics to that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To this day, like when it's what is that song? A long, long time ago.
American Pie.
The Day the Music Died.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Weird album, the first song on that Running with Scissors album is like the Star Wars saga.
Yes.
And it's all about Anakin Skywalker. And man alive. Like it's to this day I can't unhear that.
Heck yeah, dude. Absolutely. It takes a lot of awesome work and imagination to do that. It's not like, oh, he's just parodying a song so it's easy. I mean, dude, that stuff is so well done. I don't know if anybody does it as well as he does. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But Weird Al.
Weird Al, yeah.
He's
and
awesome.
I mean, outside of the comedy music, I guess, like I started working at the Brick, like downtown, when that was a thing, and one of the guys that I worked with, Derek Simpson, introduced me to like punk and ska, I guess, and that was a game changer. My world kind of swapped around from there. To this day, like my favorite band is Less Than Jake.
Oh, awesome!
And to the point where my Wi-Fi is less land Jake.
That's
which I get a kick out of every time I have to tell somebody that. In fact, I go out of my way to tell somebody that. Yes. Just like now.
Just like now. In fact, you've told many people.
The people. Yeah, if you look it up.
Drive by his house. Yeah. You know, like switch your phone to Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I get with most things in life, I kind of like rabbit hole on stuff for a while. So you end up like, I don't know, like I got into like ska punk for a long time. Still, like, who am I kidding?
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah, and like Alkaline Trio, kind of like that sort of like emo punk stuff too.
Yep.
Was really big for me at a certain point. And like skate punk, that was always a big hit. I don't even know, Blink-182 was huge, man.
Of course.
Like huge for everybody, I think, at that point. Like there's very few people, I think, that wouldn't hear a Blink-182 song and be like, oh, well, this is terrible. Like,
absolutely. No, of course.
Get over yourself.
I mean, nowadays people are like, Blink, sure, but like they're lying, you know.
Yeah,
you know that secretly they all know like every lick, chord change, and they can hum like, you know, mouth drum the drum fills and like sing all the lyrics to like "Damn It," for example.
Yeah.
You know, like,
or like you've never heard "I Miss You" and you go, "Where are you?"
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody, absolutely,
exactly.
Everybody.
Including singing it that way,
exactly,
right? Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh man, that's absolutely right. Those bands are amazing, man. Like those songs at that time, they were huge. I remember moving to Canada and getting into like a bunch of those bands because, you know, like moving from England, I don't know what I was listening to at the time. Like I think I'd gotten super into music. You pointed out like the Deep Purple CDs upstairs. I think like I started like buying CDs for myself at that time, and so there's a bunch of rock stuff, whatever was popular in England. I was into Blur, Oasis.
Oh, cool.
A bunch of stuff like that. And then,
you know, a lot of people don't know this, but everybody that watches this is going to know now. But the singer from Blur,
many tens of, I'm sorry.
The singer from Blur is actually in the Gorillaz.
He is.
Which is crazy. Like, that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Revolutionary for me when I found that out. And like, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
The Gorillaz are slick.
They're so good. Damon is such a talented musician. And like, not just vocalist, but I mean, everything. Lyricist, composer, the whole thing. The Gorillaz were, they're fantastic, man.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like I probably hum Feel Good Inc. to myself all the time. You know what I mean? Like, just, there are a few songs like that you just, like, every once in a while you catch yourself humming. I'm like, I don't know why, but...
Yeah. You walk by a store in the mall and you just hear that,
yeah, exactly.
And then it's there for the rest of the week.
That's right. Exactly. Just that little clip, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. Talk about hooks, you know? Like, a lot of music nowadays is like, everyone's trying to find hooks, you know? Cram in hooks into every song, you know, to make it as memorable as possible. But you think back to a lot of tunes like that, I mean, you could probably point out a bunch of different rhythmic things, melodic things, as well as the in that song that are all equally catchy. I mean, any one of those things.
Organic,
right?
Like,
absolutely.
That's the coolest thing about that group, man. Is they're just everything works, and it's just this huge like mashup because like none of those artists, like not none of them, I guess, but a lot of them you wouldn't see. Like if you were to see like Blur playing with whoever else out of the band, it's not like you're gonna be like, you what?
Exactly. Huh? Stop that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Gorillaz,
Toby Keith touring with the Deftones or something weird like that.
Exactly. But I mean, now that we live in like a post Old Town Road world, like anything is possible. Anything. That, I mean, it's funny because that song is like built around also like a Nine Inch Nails loop, which is funny because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't know when I heard about this, but Trent Reznor tweeted something, like not begrudgingly, but kind of like, oh, okay, fine, you know, something about him, like, you know, an Old Town Road, and like getting, I don't know if it was like a country music award or something like that, but in the writing and creation of that song, they sampled like just like this ambient thing from Ghosts 1 through 4, which was like Nine Inch Nails' most ambient kind of releases. But that's in Old Town Road, so Trent Reznor has a writing credit on Old Town Road, and so it's like.
Do you even want that credit though? Like...
Right, exactly. That's right. It's incredible. But yeah, dude, Deftones, Toby Keith. I feel like somebody has to make that happen. Just like pick a Deftones song.
Could you imagine the crowd? Holy smokes!
How would that go?
Man, the Toby Keith fans would be in the stands. That's what I know.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Deftones, 8-string. What a crazy band, man. That was an amazing time.
And that's the other thing too, is like a lot of the music that really got me was more than just punk too. Like it was a lot of just like rhythmic stuff. Like I still remember like going to my buddy Jacob's house when I was like 11 or 12 years old or something like that, and we're playing like Time Splinter or something like that on the GameCube, and Jake's like checking where his mom is in the house, and he's like, check this out. He fires up Chop Suey. Oh man, hearing Serge go, wake up, grab a wake up. I was just like, holy shit! Like what are we listening to? How does this person talk this fast? Like, right? He just played that whole like Toxicity album where we're just slaying zombies or whatever you do on that game. I don't even remember anymore, but yeah, like that kind of stuff was like huge for me too. Like and Jake was always like the heavier music influence, like Korn and like Limp Bizkit and stuff, which is like huge for a teenage angsty kid or whatever.
Absolutely,
that kind of stuff was good too.
It's easy to forget the kind of impact that those bands had. I mean, nowadays, anyone, you mentioned Limp Bizkit, people are like, clearly you're speaking ironically, but no, man, like, if you think about it,
pretty legitimate about that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Living the life.
Living the life, that's just it. I mean, remember when, like, the Freak on Leash record came out, just all the angsty, not just guys, but all the angsty guys, girls, like, everyone, sometimes you just want to crank up Got the Life, and you're like, yes, that's right. Oh, yeah. They understand me. Like, that's what that music is for, man. Yeah. And that was just perfect for the time.
I remember, like, listening to Twist for the first time, too, and, like, that whole, like, 40-second of intro of him just, right. It sounds like someone's running over a growling dog or something,
absolutely.
Like, down a gravel road, and it's just like, this is, like, oddly musical.
Well, and that's just it, right? Like, when I heard stuff like that, I don't think I'd heard stuff like that before. So it just made me stop and think, like, what is this? This is, it's like strange. It's perhaps like non-musical, but really what it is, it just kind of challenges your ideas of whatever you think music is at the time. Mm-hmm. Like the whole breakdown in, I guess it's Freak on a Leash, right? Yeah. The Jonathan Davis scatting thing that he does, like that. I remember hearing that and being like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? But then it all works.
Did you ever see his mic stand?
Oh, the Gieger thing? Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was like a...
Could you imagine? Hold on. Could you imagine being his roadie and having to haul that stupid thing? No. Like, it's made out of industrial materials, but you're just like, I don't want to drop this.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, if anybody took that kind of care of a chain at my work, gone.
That's right. Oh my gosh. That's incredible, man. It's interesting too, because little things like that added to the band, like the band's mystique, the band's identity, like like connecting with that end of things. Like I don't know when, probably maybe I just saw the movie Alien, and then I was a big fan of that biomechanical art style that was all H.R. Gieger. Like that was like just him and his thing.
Kind of thing.
Exactly,
almost.
Right?
Yeah.
And then knowing that Jonathan Davis worked with Gieger to design some of that stuff later in my career was like, this is amazing. Again, it's like this depth of art, like this crossover to things that you don't expect.
Stage presence too, man. Like it's because that's obviously not something that's going to come through on like a record. Like
right.
You're not going to hear his mic stand by any means, but like the visual representation is cool, man. And live shows are so good.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah. Did you ever see the videos of like the Family Values tour and those kinds of things?
No.
I don't know like what year this would have been, but it was like one of these. Again, I don't know who put the tour together, but it was like all of those bands at that time, like '98 through 2002, maybe. But somebody had a VHS. I may still have it. Don't tell anyone. Pretty sure I borrowed it and never gave it back.
I have a friend like that
But
too.
damn it, I hate people.
Travis Brulot.
Oh man, you know what? This is a good forum for calling people out. Because one thing
Yeah, because they can't say anything
yeah,
back.
exactly.
It's the best.
I know. It's one thing that I'm known for is,
You turn the comments off
engineering
on
beef.
YouTube, right?
I will now. I'll just bleep it over. Family Values. So one of these Family Values tours was like Limp Bizkit, Korn, Slipknot, and like Cold Chamber, and a couple of bands like that. Like all of the bands that were that vibe, right? New metal, angst, alt, rock, whatever, and just as you said, the stage show, I remember seeing them do their things on stage, and they had wildly different styles, like Jonathan Davis with the mic stand and the whole vibe just looked incredible. And then Wes from Limp Bizkit always he was always painted up with like these kooky characters and stuff. Slipknot, of course, for Slipknot.
Like unchanged,
right?
Forever unchanged.
Absolutely. My gosh,
still putting music out too, man.
Still, absolutely, man. Still wearing jumpsuits, updating their scary masks in 2019.
Still smashing kegs with baseball bats.
Yeah, exactly. If it works, come on. Why would you mess with that? If you could do that at work, if you're like, my role in this collective, is like I do this.
The only band with like 5 percussionists.
Exactly.
That's not an orchestra.
That's right. My gosh. Yeah, dude, that was a great time in music. It makes me like, so that crowd of bands plus like the punk emo side of things that we were just talking about, those are like, I don't know what it is. I love that music to this day.
Dude, Warp Tour,
cool
speaking of like live gigs,
yeah, man.
Warp Tour was huge. I went to that like 3 or 4 years in a row. Yeah.
Okay, where?
In Calgary.
Okay, got it.
Race City Speedway until like the last year they closed it there or whatever. But yeah, oh dude, it was so cool. I think I started going there when I was in like grade 9 or 10 or something like that.
That's amazing. That's
unreal, man. And you find so many more bands. Like that was I used to have to like where I lived, I would walk to my high school and I'd have to walk through the mall.
Yep.
And that CD Plus store. I had all this disposable income because you're 16 years old and you're working more than you probably should be anyways. But I had like every week I would come home with like 2 or 3 or 4 CDs or whatever.
Dude, I hear you.
And I always used to get those like compilation albums.
Yes.
Man, talk about rabbit holes, because like, and this was like the days of like Kazaa and all that, like downloading music and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and that never was really my thing, but like that was sort of your like, cause you'd find this band like Antifreeze or something like that,
right.
And you'd go into the CD store and they're like looking through their computer for 20 minutes and they're like, I don't know, like, oh, for crying out loud, like I'll find it myself.
Exactly. Yeah, dude, the frustration of like looking for bands back in the day and not being able to, or even like the best case scenario is that you had to like have delayed gratification, like, hey, we found it, we can have it here in 4 weeks,
4 months or something ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll call
Where's
you
it coming from?
Exactly. Like, all right, you remember to be this stoked about this band in 4 months. Okay, done.
Yeah, right. And you get the album and it just sucks too, and you're like, damn it.
There's that one song that you're like, yeah, this is so good, but then everything else.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, what a time! What a time to be alive. Man, let's talk about bands, like playing in bands.
Yeah.
What were your first steps into getting into bands? Did you always want to be in bands? Did it come up passively and you're like, sure?
No, well, it was kind of like I think I was about 14 or 15 and my mom started seeing Mike from the music store.
Okay, yep.
For a while. Mm-hmm. And and he was in like In Between.
Oh,
kind of like and I never got to see him play or anything like that, because it was it was not all ages.
Yeah.
A lot of the gigs they were playing, like BJ's and that kind of stuff, was
of course classic.
Was not underage. I had my 12th birthday at BJ's.
Oh,
but like
what?
Before 9 o'clock, I think you were allowed to be in there or whatever.
That's amazing.
But anyway, so like Mike kind of came into my life, and he played guitar, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And started showing a lot of interest in it, I guess. And he ended up making me a Warmoth guitar for
cool.
Christmas. And it was just awesome, man. And started learning how to play that, and I had one of those custom amplifiers like we were just talking about there, rocking out in the house. And kind of just learning how to play guitar in general. And first song I ever learned was I just had it in my brain. Whatever, a Green Day song, When I Come Around. That's the one.
What a good tune.
And and it was just like that rhythm was just kind of really easy to get into, and once you got the hang of it, it was kind of opened a lot of doors, right? And and he ended up kind of helping me learn a little bit more. And then like my dad was telling me like, oh yeah, we have there's another guitar, like you can play this other guitar. And he went and grabbed this thing from upstairs out of his closet, and he brings it downstairs, and it's just this like dusty old guitar that he opened it up, and it's like that very 70s orange thing inside of it. And I was like, oh man. And it was like it had marks which I later found out was the D chord, because my grandpa only played the D chord apparently, and it actually wore a hole in the neck. And
that's amazing. That's my thing. I just play D, okay?
Yeah, for real. But that's what you do when you're in a folk country band.
Absolutely.
Kind of
That's just it. Exactly.
And it's I don't know, Dad. And he's like, no, it's fine. We'll put some strings on it. So we take it to the music store, and Al's there and plop this thing on the table, and Al's like, oh my God, because he's got this big thing for 70s Strats.
Oh,
and
Al does.
I
didn't realize that.
Okay. And my dad opens this thing up, and Al just flips out, and I just thought it was this crusty old guitar that was existing in our closet for a long time, and I just kind of blew it off, and Al's just freaking out about it, and I was like, well, what is it? What does it do?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is
What's
it
the
cool?
deal? Yeah.
And that's sort of where it really hooked me onto musical instruments. And this comes back to that single coil pickup that we were talking about. It couldn't handle a metal zone.
Right, of course. Yeah, I hear you. It was important at the time that everything had to handle metal zones. That's the boss.
Everybody starts there.
Everyone starts there.
Let's not kid ourselves.
I got mine is here or over there somewhere. I get it. But I guess the 70s Strat wasn't the perfect mesh with the metal zone. Okay.
But
all right.
Later on, it definitely meshes pretty hard. And so suddenly my guitar collection doubled, which is pretty cool for a 16-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
And so I just kind of kept playing and learning, and ended up changing to the county high school for my grade 9, I guess. And one of my friends that I made there was playing drums and stuff as well, and we ended up working again at the Brick together. Different guy, Travis. We were working at the Brick, and just kind of really started digging into music hard, and I learned this song the other night, and just getting jacked up over over each other, it's so good. And and so we ended up deciding we'd start jamming together, and I got this half stack, this the Marshall solid state DSL stuff or whatever, which was just the coolest thing.
Of course.
And you plug your metal zone right into it.
Exactly.
It worked awesome.
Yes. That's the dream. The dream.
And actually my grandma got me that for Christmas, and Yeah, and so we like my parents didn't want it at the house.
Right. That's a whole other thing, man. You have the gear, then like hosting the gear, that becomes a whole other thing.
So so me and Travis were talking together, and we're just like, well, like maybe we can, because I was in the music program at the school.
Oh,
and
right.
It's like, well, maybe we can keep it here and just jam like after school or during the lunch or whatever. And so we did that for like all of grade 11, all of grade 12, and like every lunch hour we'd be practicing. Like we had this big like auditorium thing, which was meant for the drama club, but they didn't utilize it all that much because it was still a new high school at the time.
Got it.
And like all of that was still developing. So yeah, during lunch and stuff, we'd chill out in there, and like, I mean, it's obnoxiously loud, so like people start trickling in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can hear it.
Like, huh.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had like 2 kids the first time we jammed, and then like within a month, like we had that thing like packed with like 60 or 70 kids sitting there eating their lunch in there, and like it just. And like we played the same songs, all the time. Like we were because it's awkward to try and like learn something new in front of an audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we didn't progress as far as we probably could have practicing that often, but man, we rocked it. We were popular.
Heck
too.
Yeah, dude. Well, there you go. Well,
ladies loved it.
Like that. Isn't that why we
that goes without saying?
Of course. Oh my gosh. That's a really important thing, though. Like being able to, again, if you're going to be in a band, like getting used to performing in front of an audience.
And that was the thing. You just like, because we didn't. It was just kind of like trial by fire. Like it was, because if you're going to play and people are going to watch you, then it's like, it's just practice for playing live too. Absolutely. I guess to an extent.
Totally.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of like interaction other than like, hey, like, would you guys want to play it again? Like,
exactly.
Nobody gives a crap. Like,
sure, of course. Like, just play damn it over and over again. Just play it again. And one again. Just play the chorus 5 times. I know, man. Again, like you said, it's a trial by fire. It's a really important thing. It helps you, like a lot of people, whether it's like legitimately sort of anxiety issues or not, or just that getting over that hump of like allowing someone else, like strangers, other human beings, to see you like performing art. Like it's hard for a lot of people to get through that, but I feel like band folks, it's like it's a thing that you have to do somehow. One day it has to happen, and then you can continue doing the thing. But if you don't get through that, it's going to pose a problem. Let's take a break for one moment. For mysterious reasons.
Okie doke.
All right, Eric, now that we're back, let's continue talking about bands. So we were talking about playing in the auditorium at school at lunch, which is an amazing thing. It's like super cool. So you had your half stack. What was the gear that was there at the time?
So Travis had like a Gretsch maple set.
Oh,
like
nice.
A big drum set.
Yep.
And like I think it was like a 5 or 6 piece.
Sweet.
Yep.
All the time.
All the brass.
Yeah.
Yep. Young Neil Peart in the making. Yep. And then just the half stack, which was like the stationary stuff. I didn't leave my guitar there so often just because,
for sure.
That's the important one, right?
Oh, clearly. Absolutely.
The rest of it can go.
Yeah, of course. Take the guitar home.
Yeah. I mean, the backpack or like the case had like a backpack straps on it and stuff, so taking the school bus was easy enough to put your homework in there and whatnot. And that was kind of it, really. Like we weren't singing or anything. There wasn't any like audio or anything. It was literally just the half stack and drums.
Awesome.
About as raw as it gets, I guess.
Dude, that's the way, man. Were you taking the Strat over at the time or not yet?
Yeah, my dad wasn't letting me take.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fair
sorry,
enough.
the Mongo Strats. The Warmoth guitars. What I was taking.
Gotcha. Yep. Cool.
They're both Strats essentially, but yeah.
I gotcha. What kind of pickups were in the Warmoth?
So at that point in time, it was like a Jackson pickup in the bridge.
Oh.
Like a mystery, but I still don't even know what it is. Really, just says Jackson on it.
Nice.
And then the neck, can't remember what it was that it Mike had put in there to begin with. Maybe it was just the one.
Cool.
I don't really remember. Yeah.
Okay.
But now I've got a 500T in it.
Oh, nice. Hey, man.
It's trying to chase that Tom DeLonge tone, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And and then I have like a Fat Cat in the bridge.
Cool. Okay.
For the ska.
Dude, that's the thing.
Groovy.
Speaking of the ska, tell me about ska. What do you love about ska music?
What do I love about ska music?
Why is it so awesome? Which is a leading question, I know, but
it's just so like it's just so groovy, man. Like it just makes you want to move. And like you literally can't just sit still and listen to a ska tune or you're like weird.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like a psychopath or something. Like, how can you?
Even with no song like recommended, what we were just talking about, I have this like solid like.
Right, I hear it. You know what's going on. You're like, yeah, all right. Yep.
And the bass lines, man, are so it works. Like all of it just works so well. And the trumpets and trombones and like
that's the thing. The horn section, man.
Sometimes like this, too much sax. There is such a thing as too much saxophone in ska. Yes. But like tasteful sax is
absolutely
so good. So good. Like Catch-22 and like Streetlight Manifesto really nailed the saxophone. Whereas like I think like now the name's escaping my brain. Who the heck is Mighty Mighty Boss Tones? Like they have this like wall of horn section that kind of you just like the saxophone drowns out too much of like the brass. I think sometimes I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, hey, I got you. Starting beef with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. It's okay.
Yeah, great.
Just more beef. Just
slagging
so much.
Everybody tonight.
I didn't know that's what would be happening this evening. I didn't guess that. We'll be starting
mail now.
No, exactly. The tens of people who watch this will be like, we'll tell the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, hey man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just good. And I mean, like the stage presence. It's not just like, and I mean, 3 guys can fill up a stage really well. Yeah. But when you have like 8 guys on a stage, things are like chaos is bound to ensue.
Oh, it's a party. What's your stance on the additional member of every ska band who does nothing but dance on stage?
I'm all for that.
Me too.
I like it's almost kind of like the like when you have like in New Zealand, I guess this is sort of jumping forward, but in New Zealand, a lot of like the public addresses have like the sign language person in the bottom corner.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what the dancing guy is for ska music. It's like, in case you didn't know, this is how it looks.
Exactly. This is how it sounds. This is how it looks. Bam. I appreciate that. I always got a kick out of that.
Yeah. And no, man, those guys earn their keep because they're wearing suits and like those stage lights are
pork
not
pie
cold.
Hat. It's exactly. Oh my gosh, man. It's commitment. It's a dedication. I appreciate that. Maybe there'll be more of that in the future. Maybe there just needs to be a ska comeback now.
Like Wave 32 or whatever.
Right, exactly. Who keeps Actually, you know what? I just thought of something. So it's like the 30th or the 40th anniversary of the Starlight Room coming up in a couple weeks or something. But
what are they doing for that?
They have like an entire like massive show in the main room, and they have other stuff going on in the other spaces as well. But the reason that came to mind is because Chicks Dig It is, I mean, they're not back, but they're getting together to play that show. But then also Mad Bomber Society. Remember them?
Oh, yes, dude, that would be so cool.
Absolutely. I remember seeing Mad Bomber Society at Howler's Lounge. I don't know how many times they came, but I saw them once. And it was great. They wore suits, and one, maybe more members had like super long spiky hair.
The Liberty spikes.
Yeah, exactly. And they danced around, and they had horns, and it was great, man. It was really good. Cool.
It's just it's hard to like find somebody that wants to play trombone or trumpet and something like that. Like, because when you're in school and you're learning to play these instruments, you're playing like, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean theme or whatever it is. It's like, wow, great. And it just doesn't have like, they don't teach you a lot of like creativity in band class in school. It's like this is the music that you're going to play.
Yeah. It's a rudiment, it's repertoire.
Yeah.
It's getting you.
And that's the thing, like it's very structured, and I think like depending on the education style of specific people, like that can be really beneficial. But like that structure, like that fixed structure education system thing just didn't jive for me. And I like
Got it.
I really enjoyed band class and being surrounded by that much music, but like there was often times where I just wouldn't even bring my music to class because I was practicing it so often that I just had it in my brain, and
absolutely.
it's like I didn't need it, and I could, you know what, if I want to play a different note, I'm going to play a different note, and
that's just
honestly, teacher, what are you going to do about
That's
it?
right.
Like, it still sounds good.
Yep.
I know it sounds good.
You know it sounds good. It works. I hear you, man.
That was good.
Good. Awesome. That was a good little ska diversion. I don't know if many people know this, but in case it's not obvious, I love ska music.
What is it, like, is it stand for? Like, is it an acronym or something? Or, like...
No, it's the sound that the hi-hat makes in between beats. The only reason I know that is not because I'm like
aficionado.
Yes.
Ska aficionado.
I mean, I love you. Right, exactly.
It's not a coffee table at the classiest lounge.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
It's like my master's thesis dissertation. It's like ska music. Let me tell you. Let's see. Ska. Do you know Jeff Whittall from the college? He teaches.
Yep.
He's a drum.
I think so,
percussion dude. So Jeff, awesome. He's also like a big fan of ska music. And he pointed me the direction of this like old BBC documentary, this long like 2-part documentary about the history of ska. And it's like it starts out with like the dance hall thing in Jamaica back in the day, and how what things made that scene morph into ska as we know it, and then travel to England, like how that whole thing was set up, like the original ska bands and stuff like that. But that's something that one of the old Jamaican folks says. It's like, well, ska is like, and he was like mouth to the beat.
Way better.
Like like I'm not gonna do that. Maybe I'll like splice in a clip right there. I won't do that. It's too much work in post.
You're more of a plug and play kind of guy.
Yeah, I am. Just like straight ahead, man. Look at that.
Around here.
Plugged. That's right. It's all ready so that, just whenever I want to, I can just be like, bass, like guitar, bam, push this pedal. Just have everything ready to go. My sonic palette. Anyway, but ska music, that's what an old Jamaican guy said, so I'm happy with that explanation. If that works for you. Sold. Done. Man, talk to me about moving from that practicing in jam kind of scene to forming a band.
Like more structure.
Like becoming halfway there, for example. Was that your first band?
That honestly, that kind of came about because my mom really supported our that pursuit of music, I guess. And she was working at the Red Cross for a while.
Right.
And so she told us that she was going to put on a concert and that she wanted us to play at it.
Okay.
And so it kind of kicked everything into high gear and really lit the fire, I guess, that kind of made us progress from just like jamming in the auditorium to being a garage band.
Yep.
And actually we legitimately played in a garage for a while. I guess practiced. Yeah.
Good time.
It's so loud in there though, like
of course. The sound bouncing off everything. Yeah.
But so that was kind of where that happened, I guess, and it just kind of grew from that. Like it was, we played that show and scared to death, but came out on the other side like exhilarated and just buzzing, and it's like, well, let's do that again.
Nice.
And and we just kind of, I don't know that we played another show with Dashiell Dronick at that point, but I think he went away for schooling or something of that nature. His family was moving or something.
Right.
And So we were in hot pursuit of a bass player, and and we started putting up posters and stuff like that, and we ended up finding through a mutual friend, just this kid that one of my friends went to school with, and we'll give him a shot or whatever, I guess. And so Jordan Brennan comes out and starts kind of playing some bass, and we're like, oh, okay, all right, it's all right. Like it was jamming, like we were jiving really well, and his Metallica t-shirts and like all the piercings and weird rings and stuff like that didn't throw us completely off, I guess. Threw my dad off a little bit. But
what'd your dad say? What do you think?
Oh man, I remember introducing my dad to Jordan for the first time, and he had this this big huge like Batman ring right beside this huge like skull ring with like these stupid like red diamond eyes. You've seen it a million times at all the cheesy places in the mall.
Classic.
And I was like, yeah, Dad, Jordan, this is my dad, Bill. Jordan sticks his hand out and he goes like this. My dad looks at it and he's just like,
that's awesome.
And
get a load of this guy. That's awesome.
Like he's like they still talk to each other. Yep. So I mean, and that was sort of the start of a lot of things actually, because that kind of like Jordan played bass for us for a while, but like throughout like songwriting and that kind of thing, he always wanted to play more guitar because he'd like. Because I was never playing it well enough, so he'd just be like, "Well, do it like this, though."
Well,
yeah, right. You know the type.
Of course. Oh my gosh.
And but yeah, though I'm just throwing him under the bus. I made all this up, anyways. But no, he always wanted to like get more onto guitar and that kind of stuff, and it kind of was like, well, maybe I'll play bass for this song, and like that's never any fun. Nobody wants to play bass. So we ended up recruiting my friend Jacob to do the task, I guess. And Jake had never played bass. He had drums for a long time. But he always played them like he had them set up for for a right hand or left hand. I can't remember, but he always played it like he was the the like his left hand was always the hi hat. Got it. What are you doing? Like that's the weirdest thing ever. Yeah. Apparently, it's a thing. Like I've seen people do that, and do it well. Yep. But Jake was playing bass now, and so he, we talked him into getting like one of those like Ibanez like art chord ones or whatever,
classic,
which are solid guitars.
Absolutely.
Because that's what you do when you work at the music stores. You pressure your friends into buying expensive instruments that they can't afford. Yep. But it's for everyone's benefit.
It is. It really is.
And
public service.
Exactly. It's not for me. It's for you.
That's right. Help me help you.
Exactly. And and so we started practicing, and it like our chemistry was huge.
Yeah.
And we'd practice kind of like everywhere, I guess. Like we'd practice at somebody's house until somebody got sick of it, and they're just like, nope,
of course,
never again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not never again, but we'd go like play a show or whatever, and you tear everything down and you set it up for the gig, and you tear it down, and like, where are we taking it now? And it's like, well, my mom said no, so you take it to somebody else's house, and but everybody was really supportive. It's not like they would never see it at the house again. It's just like, we need a break.
They need a break. I know. Man.
There's 4 of you in the band. Surely somebody else can deal with this for a while.
Absolutely. There's only so much like band jamming in a room or a garage with the door closed that that makes sense. And it's like, thanks for closing the door, but it doesn't really do anything because you have a drum set and like 4 guitars and like a bass guitar and someone singing.
Yeah.
I understand, but it's one of those things that I think in previous episodes we've like talked about this a bunch, but like a big part of all of this thing that we do is like the support from various places that makes it possible, like whether it's like, support while you're learning an instrument or support while I mean, especially when you're jamming, as soon as you start to get like 2 or 3 people playing together, where you're gonna play, it's a big question. Suddenly, it's like,
Yeah.
well, we can't play in my room anymore because like I have a bed there and like a desk.
That can be done. I'll tell you that it can be done. Because I moved into Al's basement for a while.
Oh yes, indeed.
Right when I first moved out of my house, and like Book of Names was practicing in his like main basement room, and I had this really weird like long strip room in the basement that was sort of mine.
Yep.
And and like Al's band was practicing like 4 or 5 times a week, and I was like, well, whatever, like we're just gonna lean into this, I guess. And so we set our drums up and our bass guitar and our guitars, and so like, I had like a futon that could no longer be a bed, so it was always a couch,
right?
Which is fine when you're a single guy, I guess.
Of course.
And and we had just musical instruments from like floor to ceiling in that house for a while.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
Like, classic band house scenario.
And like you so from you wake up in that, you go to work at the music store, and you come home to that, and it's like, it sounds obnoxious, but man, that was awesome. Like there's so much creativity flowing when you're with that kind of environment all the time.
Absolutely.
It's so cool, man.
It really is. I mean, everything is set up, everything is ready to go. There isn't like that point of like that point where you can talk yourself out of it, like, oh, I'm kind of tired. Oh, I don't want to set up this thing. It's like, no, everything is there.
It's in your face.
Exactly. Like, your band members are there, and everyone's just like, okay, let's just start playing. That's really cool. How did the songwriting work? Wait, actually, before that, was that then the band that became Cult Movie Classic?
Yeah. So after Dash, we swapped names. Like Jordan came in, and also we were halfway there. And the further I got into Rise Against, we also found there was a song called Halfway There, and it's like, the song was way more badass than we were ever going to be. So they can have that one, I guess. And so we decided to change our name to Cult Movie Classic. Yeah.
Where did that name come from? Because it's a really cool name. It's like very evocative in a very specific way. I always thought it was like really interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like not everybody, but we have different takes on it.
Sure.
A lot of it stems from me just being like a bumbling person and not being able to like explain what a cult movie is.
Sure.
And but basically, like I have you seen Hardcore Logo?
Yeah, man.
Okay,
absolutely.
So I saw that movie, and I was just floored by it, and I was like, you guys need to watch this.
Heck yeah.
And they're like, well, what is it? It's like, it's a documentary or a mockumentary of this band, and it's a cult movie. Like it's not something that a lot of people know about, but it's something that's worth checking out for sure. I can guarantee you. And and it was just kind of, and then the more we got into it, we started realizing like, holy crap, like we watch a lot of these kinds of movies that are just like nonsense, but like they're awesome. And quoting lines from them left and right, like it was just part of our vocabulary. Like
totally. That movie specifically is a heck of a movie. Super creative, super interesting. And if you're a musician or an artistic person, there's so much in there that you just get. Man. You see the band member stuff going on, the inter-band things happening, the some of the trials and tribulations, some of the motivations of why the things happen, and you just get it. I heard a beep. I think that means I have to change out the SD card. Give me 1 sec. And we're back again. I feel like we should move those guitars around. No, I'm kidding. Next time.
Said it. You said something.
Oh, no. I'll bleep that out in post. We should beep. Oh, no, let's start again. And we're back. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Just,
Come out swinging.
Coming out swinging. So then you became Cult Movie Classic.
Yep.
Hardcore Logo. That's a great tie-in. That really is, actually. How do you describe the name to people back in the day? Like, would you talk about like, oh, here's this Hardcore Logo movie, and then this happened, or would people like, what's the meaning, man? Like, what does it mean for you?
I don't know. It was honestly, like the majority of our time not spent talking about music, was just talking about dumb movies.
Sure.
And that was, and I think that was just popular knowledge. Like,
right. Okay.
Not that we're like movie gurus by any means, but that was kind of, we watched, like, I've seen Liar Liar more times than I can.
Oh, cool.
And not that that's a cult movie, but
sure,
like that consumed a large portion of my childhood too.
Yep.
And I love Jim Carrey. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's so many movies like that I've seen just way more times than you should. Like Boondock Saints.
That's a great movie. Come on. Fantastic. Right?
So that's the thing. Like when people start talking about the name, it's like, well, have you seen this movie? And like, have you seen this movie? Well, it's just a conversation starter.
Totally.
Too. Like, it's I don't know. It's just really good. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense in that regard. What's the most recent movie that you would classify a cult movie? What's the last thing you saw that was like really cool?
like recent film, or that I've seen recently?
Both.
We watched Little Shop of Horrors on Halloween.
Yeah.
Which my partner told me is not such a good movie, but I beg to differ. Which is fine.
This is starting beef with your partner. Hey, whoa. It's too much beef, bro. Sorry. Cool. Yep.
Yeah, that was, I don't know, that was pretty good. And, like a recent cult movie that I've seen, like, come out, I guess. I don't know. I'm too busy watching the classics.
It's very good. You know, you're too busy watching the classic cult movies.
Like, I feel like the most recent reiteration of it. It's like it's a remake of a cult movie. I think. Yep. And like that original one was excellent. Yeah,
Tim Curry doing his thing.
Like, dude, and like so that was a weird crisscross like part of my childhood where I watched like Muppet Treasure Island growing up, and he was like Long John Silver. Yeah. And then you watch it, and like his name pops up in the credits, and you're like, well, which one is he? It's Pennywise, and you're going back through the thing, like, holy crap, he's the clown. Like,
that's right. Exactly.
As if.
Yeah.
And that was I get like I mean that didn't really answer your question.
No, no worries.
Like, honestly haven't really watched too many movies recently, like new movies anyways. Yeah.
It could, maybe this is like going down the rabbit hole into more existential dilemmas, but
we already talked about how much I enjoy this.
Dude, so. I know. People always talk about it's part of like the art business, the entertainment industry in general. It's like the bottom dropped out. You could say 15 years ago, and even 10 years ago, again and again, and so we live in an age of like massive tentpole, $1 billion, everything is a blockbuster kind of thing, right? Like that's neither good nor bad, but it's just where we are, I think. And so when I asked you the question, I was trying to think back to like, what was like a movie that would classify as like a cult movie that came out recently? And I mean, the answer is I'm not sure. I'm sure there's
everything is huge.
Everything is huge. Yeah. I'm sure there's stuff on Netflix that I haven't seen that people are into, or maybe some super like obscure sort of art house things.
Have you ever gone to like the Sundance Film Festival or anything like that?
Have I gone to those?
Or like, have you ever paid any attention to those kinds of things?
I in terms of paying attention to, I always get a kick out of whether it's Sundance, Cannes Film Festival, all of those things, because it's like a time for especially like artistic directors or auteurs to like they get like a big spotlight shone upon them. So I get a kick out of that stuff. But last couple of years I couldn't tell you much about it. I mean, recently I guess controversially Joker made a big huge splash at I think it was Cannes. The Venice Film Festival. I'm not sure.
How do you mean?
Like got a lot of the movie got a lot of attention. It was like it won like the award for like best this movie, best director, some stuff like that. And it was right at the same time that at least in the sort of I hate using the term mainstream media because instantly I turn into like if anyone like just looks at this clip, they're like, oh my gosh, some kind of like Alex Jones person talking about the mainstream media. But the coverage that Joker was getting at the time was like, this movie is going to incite violence and all this kind of stuff. While at the same time, it was winning like major accolades in like these European film festivals. So that again brought me back to thinking about these film festivals in a way that I hadn't before. And I don't know about anybody else, but I thought the movie Joker was pretty awesome.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that one yet.
It's worth a watch.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
not
double
a
feature that with the new what was it called? The Shining, the second part.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. Yeah. Double feature that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, do it. Check it out. It's worth a watch. Joker, I think, is a really good movie. I was very curious simply because, again, you hear stuff, right? And I'm always the kind of person who I would like to make my own mind up about it. Sometimes you watch a thing, hear a person get into a thing, and you're like, yeah, that sucks, or yeah, that was amazing, just like everyone said. And sometimes it's the opposite. I found that.
Dude, I had to watch Napoleon Dynamite. Like the first time I watched that movie, I was like, "What is this? Like, what are you talking about?
What is happening?"
And then the second time, it's like, "Oh, that's actually all right. It's kind of funny." By like the fourth time, you're like, "Wow." Like, have you seen this movie?
Oh, totally. Everything is like, vote Pablo.
And like, why? Why is that? Like, what is it about that? Like, that just grows on you? It's like, because it's the same thing the whole time. It's not like there's anything about it that's changing, but it's you that's just like picking up on different parts. And I think that's what I really like about cult movies is like the more you watch them, the more like have you seen the movie Black Dynamite?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
I
so
want
that's
to.
worth a watch.
Yeah.
There's parts in that if you watch it more than once, like there's a lady smoking a cigarette, and there's times where it's not even lit, and she's like very clearly like pulling on it, and then like it's and you don't notice that necessarily unless you actually are like watching for it, and it's like I love that. Like that, I think that one was sort of like a spoof and very intentional, but like those kinds of like. There was like a series of movies in like these like 70s and 80s that like it was just garbage filming and like, like sometimes 100%. You know what, they forgot to light the cigarette and they're just like just keep going, just keep going.
Exactly. This is the only take we have. Just really work the I hear you, man. Did you watch it's called I Heart Huckabees? Do you know that movie?
You know, I saw that. I've definitely seen that movie. I don't know that I remember it.
Okay.
It had a pretty stellar soundtrack, though, from what I remember.
It did. Yep. Yeah. It was very kooky. It had a bunch. It had like Jude Law, Naomi Watts, a bunch of people, Mark Wahlberg that that everyone would recognize. But it was just a very kook. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah, it's.
Like the Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, exactly. That? Absolutely.
Like, what the hell is that movie even about?
I don't know, but I love it. I don't know. It's the same with I Heart Huckabees. Like, I couldn't describe to you exactly what happens in a way that makes sense, that isn't like just naming you scenes, and then this guy did that, and then she did that, and then it was hilarious. But it's a really good movie. Anyway, that's one of those movies. Like,
that was a good rabbit hole.
I was obsessed with that for a while. That was a really good rabbit hole.
Yeah, cheers to that one.
Dude, yeah. Boop. Boop. Brought to you by Steve. No, I'm kidding.
Top notch.
And if it's a thing, I'll have to like put like a black square over this bottle, so like the label doesn't show. That's okay.
Little do you know they're actually your new sponsor.
Yeah. No, you know what?
That'd be badass.
We'll find out soon enough. Cool. Let's get there. So I think in my notes we got like a couple more things and we're done. At least for what I have going here. Talk to me about playing shows as Cult Movie Classic. Was everybody into gigging? Was playing out the thing that everybody wanted to do? Did you guys want to take that whole thing as far as it could go? What was that like?
Yeah. So we got to a point where we were playing a lot and we wanted to be better. Like as a band, we wanted to be better. And we kind of got to a point where we were practicing like 3 nights a week kind of thing.
Yep.
Which is like, that's a pretty big commitment.
Absolutely
in an adult person's life, right?
Yep.
But we wanted, like, I wanted more. Like I wanted more and Jordan wanted more.
Yep.
but it was a big commitment, and like it was starting to put strain on like our drummer's relationship, like with his now wife.
Yep.
And like they had a kid on the way, and they were gonna get married and stuff, and so like at the time it was heartbreaking, man, when Trav was like, guys, I can't anymore. And to know how awesome he's doing now, like it was absolutely the right choice.
Of course.
Absolutely. And it was, I don't know, it was like not devastating as a band, but like you kind of get to a point where you're just like, you're heartbroken about it, and then you're like looking for something to like fix that. And we ended up jamming with Severn Sweetnam for a while.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It was so good, man. And
yeah, dude.
Like Sevy's a stellar guy, man.
Yeah.
And I gotta hook him. I gotta call him.
Definitely
call him soon, because I haven't seen him for so long.
I saw him like last week. So, my folks run like an Indian temple in town, and then they host like a ton of like Indian festivals and stuff throughout the year. Like just whether it's like little things or big things, but the festival Diwali is like the last thing in the Indian calendar as far as that stuff goes. And Sev came out to that. So I haven't seen him in forever. I think I saw him at Fred's once after I got back into town. I don't know when that would have been. But I was like running like the production for the show. I kind of look over, I'm like, like, hey, And,
as you do,
of course, there's stuff going on, exactly. And and he's like, eating dinner with some folks and like enjoying the music and stuff. But yeah, I remember again back in the day, like, he was, I don't know if he was in bands.
Yeah, well, he was jamming a lot. I don't know that he was necessarily in like gigging bands, but he was for sure like jamming around a lot, and he was always really into like that SNFU and that kind of like weird like what do you even call that? How do you classify that? But he really liked that kind of stuff, and which is kind of punky, I guess, to an extent, and he jived really well with us for a while there, and you know what? I don't even remember like why that ended up fizzling out. But at a certain point, it just didn't work, I guess, or something.
It happens, right? Like, it's sometimes hard to put your finger on why, but it's just like, eh.
And then we ended up with Bevan for a while.
Oh, I
Bevan
didn't remember
with
that.
us for that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And again, like that was like Dasheltronic playing bass in a punk band, and like suddenly Bevan, who can like just tear the snot out of a set of drums, is playing in a punk band. It's like he just was not using his full potential there by any means. But I think Bevan is so musical. Like it's insane.
Bevan Booth.
It's
this guy.
I guess
very.
Well, now you know Bevan. I have kind of like a music crush on you, but he's very talented. Like his rudiments are so tight.
Yeah.
So tight. And like I was a rhythm guitar player, and that's like that was always my jam, is like I'm not a shredder by any means, but I can keep up with the beat.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is sort of like the lowest part of what you actually need to be as a rhythm guitar player, but I could do it. So that's what I did. And and like, man, he was so good, and like it felt really good to jam with him like that. And and it kind of, we played a couple of gigs with him too, and everything was working really well there, and we kind of got to a point where it was like, yeah, all right, well, maybe we need to like pursue this further, because how many times are we going to play Fred's in a year before they're just like, okay, that's it.
Enough.
I'm sick of putting CMC up on the stupid banner. Like, that's it.
Right.
And because Jordan was working at Fred's too. And
that's right.
We played there a lot, man.
There's this funny thing with like people working at GP Music / Long and McQuaid and Fred's. Like, it's like this long-standing tradition of people who do that. Absolutely. It's just, they just go back and forth. Right now, like, Brad works there, and he started working at Fred's, and now he works at the music store. And then Dennis DeMary works at the music store.
Yeah,
and now he also
Dennis
works
too.
at Fred's.
Speaking of ska,
Speaking of
Dennis,
ska. What?
Smokes. Oh yeah,
Is he a
dude,
ska
you talked
person?
to that. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
I didn't know this.
Just like in conversation, just
Okay.
slip like Streetlight Manifesto, something like that, like kind of in between sentences, and see what he does.
Okay.
Guaranteed, you'll get a reaction.
I'll be at the music store real soon, so this is going to happen. And maybe in a future episode of this podcast, I will report on this conversation. I won't have Dennis on, but I'll just be like, and then he said, and then I said, one of those things, play by play. Cool. So Bevan played with you guys for a while. How long? What happened next?
Yeah, he played with us for probably 5 or 6 months, I guess. We practiced in that house just like right across the street from the hospital there, like right on the corner.
No.
Yeah.
That place?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Okay, so you've been there.
Yes.
That like the plaster with like the busted ass mirror that's like stuck into the wall. Dude, that was dangerous. Like you start playing too loud and that stuff starts coming like out of the plaster. We had a couple of times where like big chunks of glass were like falling out. Like,
oh my gosh. Big like dicey. Pre-smashed into like knife edge type pieces of glass flying out. That's pretty punk rock, I must say. That's pretty awesome, man. It's badass.
Yep.
I guess
if
it
had
like
right there.
The hospital's right there, exactly. If it had like cut people up, it would have been very metal as well. And then and the hospital's there, so it's all good. We have fun.
Yeah.
That place is so funny. I guess like who was living there at the time that you guys were jamming there?
I can't remember his name.
Evan Boyman.
Evan was there. Booty Man was a regular customer. I can't remember who else was there. He's friends with Bevan, and he's got all the piercings. I can't remember what his name is to save my life, but
Stu?
I think he was living there. Stu? He's into like photography and stuff too.
I'm not sure.
Can't remember.
Might be Stu. Okay.
Sorry, buddy.
We'll find out, and I'll like boop, post production it in. Exactly. That house is fascinating, man, because I feel like before we were in there jamming, like I think like Dustin Jones and like the Reject guys used to play there. I mean, I don't know, maybe there were other folks who did as well. But that house was like, like a long-standing like band jam house for ages. Like,
and that's the thing is like we knew that at the time, and it was like kind of a privilege to be able to jam there. Like it's not like a fancy place by any means, all. But like the history that's involved with that, like and knowing full well like all the other guys that had done that. Yeah. I actually have the melody maker that I have, like a Gibson melody maker, it's a black one. That like Dustin Jones, Al Peterson, Jordan.
No way!
Like this guitar has made its rounds, and it's been gigged so hard, and it was still black when I got it. Yep. But it was like right at the point where like I gigged it like 3 or 4 times, and it started like the mahogany underneath started showing, and I was like, this is so badass. Like this is way cooler than when I got it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
And like the blood, sweat, and tears like literally that have gone into that guitar, man. It's just like it sounds so good.
Yeah. That's incredible. I remember that guitar. I know that guitar.
Yep. It's got like literally 8 different like headstock like machine head like holes in the back. Everyone's like, no, I like these ones. I like these ones. Right. No, the quick ones are better.
That's right. That's incredible, man. That house, that was like a really special thing. All of us who played there were super fortunate to have been able to do that, right? It's like, again, a place where you can leave your instruments set up. And I feel like, because like you mentioned, Evan, who's a great, like, sort of electronic kind of producer in his own right. And absolutely. And then
super
Booty
creative,
and all those folks. It was just like this hive of creativity, like people of all sorts hanging out. I miss those hangs, It's like you finish playing or you get there and somebody's finished doing a thing, and then there's like that crossover time where you chat and hang out. And they're like, oh, we're supposed to be practicing. Then you play, and then like whoever else shows up and you're like, oh, hey, cool. Now we're going to hang out. It's a beautiful thing. Eric, I feel like we have to continue our conversation in another podcast, because the more we talk, the more it's like, oh wait, and then there's this, and then there's that, and then there's more stuff. Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely,
okay?
man. Absolutely.
All right, let's. Okay, so this will join the many Hometown Hustle episodes that become parts 1, 2, and beyond. So,
All
Eric,
right.
thank you for part 1 of our conversation.
Yeah, cheers.
Let's talk about way more shit next time. In addition to all of this stuff, thank you for your time. You're welcome. We have to figure out a name for the this couch version of the podcast. We will.
I was kind of thinking that couch pod-ato thing.
Couch potato,
but
couch
it had
pod-ato.
that
Pod-ato. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I can't remember his name again. Man, I need to listen to way more music. That's my homework.
Hey, there you go. You know what? That's not within like an art
life.
podcast conversation. That's not a bad thing. Like, yeah, listen to more music. Well, okay, you do that.
I will.
And then we'll
report back.
Yeah, and then our people will talk to our other people, and we'll like make a list of all these names that we forgot. Next time. Thank you. Good night. I always forget to say, like, because I hate being like, yo, it's your boy Arjun. Like and subscribe, bro. Yeah, exactly. Ka-chow. And I hate that so much. But if you enjoy this, please like and subscribe. It is important. That's it. Good night.